Hello listeners, Angus here. Sushi Jackknife will begin in a moment. First, a promo for our friend Jeff's show, the Kung Fu Drive-In Podcast. Jeff could seriously kick your ass. I live in fear of his deadly venoms.
You ever watch Kung Fu?
I love Kung Fu.
If you love Kung Fu, join me on the Kung Fu Drive-In Podcast, a weekly show where we discuss, debate, and dissect Kung Fu and martial arts movies past, present, and future. Available now on iTunes and Google Play Music. You can find me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Kung Fu Drive-In, the Facebook page Kung Fu Drive-In Podcast, or our blog, kungfudrivein.com. Just remember, your Kung Fu may be good, but mine is better.
I know Kung Fu.
In your wildest fantasy, you step outside of time, sit down, and just watch some rocks.
You are so argumentative tonight.
The world was created by a giant bumblebee.
Like, the youngest religions are the weirdest sounding religions. There's a dealer sing like
Sushi jackknife. 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 Sushi jackknife.
Oh, the noises are recording.
Are there sound waves?
Yeah.
Is the thing that shows how much time has elapsed? Is it moving?
It's moving. Yeah, the seconds are adding up.
Forward. It's
Yes.
moving forward.
It is moving forward. You know what's crazy to me?
Time.
Yeah, time, bro.
The general concept of time.
Yes, time is amazing, bro. And the fact that, like, there may be a fourth dimension where people can move, not people obviously, but some sort of 4D beings can move through time.
That doesn't sound right.
You don't think that could be? You don't think that's possible?
No.
Well,
that's nonsense.
Nonsense.
That's nonsense.
In some of the math, they're saying there could be up to 11 dimensions.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
Okay. I don't know if I believe what you're saying. I don't know that I think it is nonsense. I think it could be possible.
What mathematician said this?
Like, I can't remember his name right now. Gates, maybe? He's a big string theory guy.
String theory. Don't even get me started on that.
Because you know so much about string theory.
I'm just saying, people are trying to make things overcomplicated.
The quest for knowledge.
Yeah.
Not important.
Yeah.
No.
Really, honestly, when it comes down to it,
Yeah.
if we figured out string theory was correct, how would that change anyone's life?
I don't know.
Aside from the scientist who figured out string theory was
Who would
correct.
become very famous. And
Yeah.
probably get a Nobel Prize or something. How would it change? I just think it would probably change our conception of life.
All it would do is make people go, oh yeah, that's cool. I heard that on a TED Talk. Anyway, have you played this Pokemon Go? Yeah, no, that's cool.
Oh, that's something I do want to get to today.
Oh.
Before we go there, welcome to Sushi Jackknife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess.
Welcome back.
Kudos on not having anything better to do than listen to this. Congrats.
You've done well for yourselves. You should feel proud.
You probably should sit down and look at your life decisions. Just a long, hard look, and figure out how you got here.
Maybe do some vision questing.
Then find one of those dimensions where you can travel about through time and go back and fix it.
And all of this will have never ever happened. That does seem nice. Mm-hmm. The idea that maybe it just never happened. That'd be okay. I'd be okay with that.
If nothing ever happened?
Not nothing, but like a do-over. You know?
Wow, you want to redo your life?
No, I want to.
I'm so telling your wife.
No, not my life.
Uh-huh.
Not my life. Just the
Her
whole
life?
No, obviously. No, the whole thing. Everything. Just
Time.
a do-over. Time. Yeah. Roll it back. But in this scenario, I get to be outside of time. Okay? I graduate to the fourth dimension, so to speak.
Right.
And I I have, and it doesn't just have to be me. There could be a group of people, like a Being John Malkovich-sized group of people who are going to take this journey with me, right? Who we have the memory of things as they were.
Well, of course.
Yeah. But we're the only ones. And so we become timeless and we get to watch the whole thing happen again and see how similar it is or how different or whatever. Compare, contrast.
But then you're not, you're just wanting to watch time happen. You're not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not redoing things necessarily. Like, you're not changing anything.
Not actively, right? You just kind of undoing, I guess, is probably the better way to
in
say
your
it.
wildest fantasy you just came up with here. You are a bystander who watches other people do things.
Yeah.
For eternity.
I'm the watcher.
That is your wildest fantasy.
This is my wild. It's just one of my wild. Come on, to be fair, it's one of my wild fantasies. I have a lot of wild fantasies.
If I could do anything,
yeah,
I'd just go back in time and just like hang out, just sit there and watch it, man.
Watch it spin, baby. Well, okay, one wild fantasy: flying, like a bird, except without even having to move like my arms or anything. I can just fly. So like
you're
Superman.
not even willing to move your arms?
No, I want to fly like Superman, just like effortlessly. You know?
Sounds like you're a lazy flyer.
Not the only one. Not pointing fingers. In the pantheon of superheroes who can fly, I don't know how much you know about this, but who do you think has the dumbest flight power?
Superman, but that's because that's the only one I know who flies.
Great. So Superman just kind of flies, right?
Yeah.
I think at one point they really explained it, but I don't remember. There's, Wonder Woman has an invisible plane, or at least she did for a period of time.
Well, that doesn't count, though. That's a vehicle.
Yeah, but you never, like, so she's just, like, seated, moving through the air, and you can't see the plane around her.
I mean, I could have one of those.
Invisible plane.
Yeah.
Thor, switching universes, Thor actually, like, swings his hammer around and, like, kind of throws it but holds on to the end. And so every time he flies, what's really happening is he's being pulled through the air by the hammer. Does that make sense?
Wait, he catapults himself?
Basically, yeah. He,
well,
like,
that's not flying.
Exactly. It's kind of just
that's
like...
flinging.
Yeah, he flings. He's being flung. He flings himself. Yeah. Hulk doesn't really fly. He just, like, takes massive jumps.
So no one else flies?
No, there's lots of people that fly. Have you ever seen Namor, the guy with the that goes under the sea? He's like the Aquaman.
Oh, Aquaman.
Well, not Aquaman. The Aquaman of, like, the Marvel world.
Right, Aquaman, yeah.
Well, he has little, like, wings on his ankles that somehow propel him through the air. It looks really strange.
Why is Aquaman flying?
I don't know. He's not Aquaman. He's Namor.
In the ocean?
Yeah. But he can get out of the water.
Are you sure he's flying and he's not just, like, swimming?
No, he's flying. He's in the medium of air, not the medium of water. When he's underwater, he swims.
Are you sure that you're not just misinterpreting what the artist was drawing?
No, I'm pretty sure. Green Lantern, I guess, flies by, like, force of will, because that's how he does everything. With the ring, the green ring is powered by will.
Who's Will?
He's this guy.
So
just a random guy. If you ever kill Will, then all the Green Lantern stuff.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's how that works. So yeah, I don't know which of those. Just out of those options I just gave you, which one is the least viable to you? And don't say Superman again.
Well, I mean, Superman's the only one that's actually flying.
This is kind of true. Everybody else.
Yeah, he's the least viable.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The winged shoes is the most viable.
They're not even shoes. They're like on his body. They're part of his body.
Oh, well, that's stupid. Comic books are dumb.
Okay.
No one has ankle wings.
But I say all that to say, like, that, you know, that's one fantasy is to be able to fly. Another fantasy is to be able to step out of time and watch it all happen again.
Just sit there.
Well, yeah.
Get a lazy boy.
No.
Start at the Garden of Eden. Just hang out.
To be fair, it'd be a fourth dimensional lazy boy. And the Garden of Eden never really happened. It's just
Oh, I think you'd find out differently.
maybe I would. I guess I would.
It would be right there after those first 6 days.
So okay, in that frame, if we frame it that way through that mythology, it would be a much faster track to get to back to like 2016.
Well, maybe.
Right? No, it would be, because, the other way is it took billions of years for there even to be rocks. You know what I mean?
Do you have the option to fast forward?
Sure. I guess I do. I'm at this point.
Because I'm going to be honest, I don't think you would sit there through the rocks are forming on the Earth phase.
You don't think so? You don't think I would do that?
You would sit there and watch rocks form for billions of years?
No, I wouldn't
In your
do that.
wildest fantasy,
No.
you step outside of time, sit down, and just watch some rocks.
I mean, but to me, right? Maybe since I'm in the 4th D, billion years is not anything near what a billion years would be to you.
Because you can fast forward
I guess.
with your remote.
Or it's just it's perceptually different. Yeah, it's like Adam Sandler's Click. Classic.
It sounds like you're just wanting to see a time lapse of history, not actual history.
What I really want to see, I want to get to the 20th, where I kind of know some history and see what happens. Like, see if there's another,
Yeah.
if there's another Hitler, if there's another
You should just
World War II scenario.
You should just watch the History Channel.
I have, I watched.
Get that out of your system.
Yeah, I watched World War II in color. That was pretty cool. You see that?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Well, it's basically
I know what World War II is, and I know what color is.
Yeah.
And I assume it happened in color.
When it happened.
Right.
Right. The world was not black and white prior to the 60s.
Well, I've seen Leave It to Beaver. That says otherwise.
So, no, they did this whole series for, I don't know if it was for History Channel or what it was, but it's on Netflix now. But basically, it's just a bunch of footage from battles and stuff and, war footage. And they went back in and colored it all.
Why?
It's just interesting. Like, you see, I don't know, it kind of adds a layer of, it's just another way of seeing it,
I don't like when people go back and they colorize black and white things for several reasons.
Okay.
The main one being it's never right. Mm-hmm. The color is never realistic. Mm-hmm. Everyone's face is a weird, bizarre, almost non-human color when they do this.
Yeah, like a peach.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
I remember it was like 2 years ago. CBS's big thing was they went back and colorized 2 episodes of I Love Lucy.
Really?
And her hair was not like red hair, but like red hair.
Oh, like really bright.
Like an unnatural, like even if you dyed hair, you would have a hard time getting it to be this color of red.
Right.
Red hair.
Completely artificial.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're going to do it, make it realistic, people.
yeah, well, this was pretty realistic, and you're watching it. The only thing I noticed while I was watching it is at a certain point, you could tell they kind of cheated on like uniforms because everyone in the Navy has the exact same shade of blue on. You know what I'm saying? And that wouldn't really happen. There'd be some more variance than that. But it was interesting.
I don't really want to watch war footage.
Well, I mean,
it's pretty morbid.
It was. I mean, parts of it were. You didn't see a whole lot of like horrific stuff.
Yeah, but you know what's happening.
You do. You do.
Like, there's not a point where you're watching that going, I bet they're going to go get some ice cream after this.
The Nazis are going to sit down with the French and say, let's have a crepe. Can you imagine being in war? I really can't.
No, and I'm not going to try to.
Well, you mean try to imagine it?
No. Why would I?
I don't know. Just
it's
a thought.
morbid.
I guess it is.
As a person who thinks war is stupid, I don't. It's not a thing that's in any sort of fantasy of mine.
Not a fantasy. I'm just.
Well, I mean, if you're imagining it, it's fantasizing.
But not for the purpose of pleasure, I guess.
Well, it doesn't have to be pleasurable fantasy.
You are so argumentative tonight.
It's ugh.
Well, no, I was just thinking about
bad.
Like, as I'm watching it, I mean, my granddad was on battleship, right? And his job on the battleship was to essentially load one of the big guns on the deck. And, he would just they'd shoot, the shell would pop out, and he'd put another one in. Mm-hmm. That was his main job, like when there was a battle. Otherwise, it was painting, cleaning, all that stuff.
Immediately, I'm already thinking of the morbid stuff there.
Such as?
Well, his main job is loading things into a gun.
Right.
If you are the other side, you're aiming for guns if you're trying to take things out.
Right.
Meaning he was always in danger of being blown up and killed.
Absolutely.
This is why I don't do war.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to imagine that level of... I mean, I can't... I would be so completely terrified.
I don't...
I
don't... I don't even like war movies.
Okay. I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, it's just... Ugh.
Like, have you ever seen, I don't know, Apocalypse Now, or...
I've never seen Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
I watched Saving Private Ryan, didn't really like it.
Saving Private Ryan is really graphic compared to a lot of them. Yeah.
It's not like a completely visceral reaction to war. It's just I sit there the whole time going, well, this is stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't watch anything about the Vietnam War or the Korean War because I just go, none of that needed to happen.
Well, that's true. It was all,
Why are we doing it?
Yeah. I really like, Full Metal Jacket is good. I like Apocalypse Now a lot. The Platoon is good.
Yeah, but you also like action movies.
I do like action movies, yeah.
And I never watch action movies.
You're not, really? I didn't know that about you.
Never.
You're not an action movie guy.
No, they're boring.
Well, they're predictable, usually.
Yeah. I don't... there's always a car chase.
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't really mind. I guess, come to think of it, I guess I don't mind movies sometimes that have sort of a formula. You know what I'm saying? Those might not be my favorite movies.
I'm not necessarily opposed to a formula.
Okay.
But, and I can tell you for a fact, this is where you will veer off of my line of thinking here.
Okay.
I want to watch a movie that I feel like is relatable to my normal, average, everyday life.
Yes.
Because I don't want to watch something and go, oh, well, that would be great if all of this could ever happen. That's boring to me. I want an actual human experience.
Interesting.
It's why I don't really like sci-fi movies that much.
Right.
Or it's not really.
You like sci-fi books, though?
Not really.
Not really? Okay.
Not as a rule.
Okay.
And don't you dare try to tell me Kurt Vonnegut is sci-fi, because I will have this argument all day long. Again.
Well, I haven't read enough Kurt Vonnegut to even...
Everyone that hasn't read Slaughterhouse Five tries to tell me it's sci-fi.
Okay.
Which it's not.
What would you call it?
It's more fantasy.
Okay. Because it's...
Oddly enough, it is the exception to everything I've just said, because it involves a story about war and jumping through time.
That's true. Yeah, it does, actually. It kind of combines both themes.
Mm-hmm. It's the one thing that steps outside of it.
If you don't know anything about Slaughterhouse Five, I mean, I saw the movie. I haven't read the book.
There's a movie?
There is a movie. It's
how
very
did they
weird.
Turn that into a movie?
It's very weird. It's very weird.
I'm not going to watch that.
You're not going to see it? Okay.
There's no... It'll ruin it. It'll make me very
It's
unhappy.
very weird. My basic understanding is this guy is in World War I, II?
I think it's two.
It's kind of...
Billy Pilgrim.
Yeah, Billy Pilgrim. And...
He comes unstuck in time.
Right. And
it says that very early in the book.
Okay.
Like the first
He
sentence.
comes unstuck? That's
Billy
the
Pilgrim
language?
has come unstuck in time.
Okay. And so doesn't he have sort of a apartment? I mean, it seems like in the movie, at least, they painted it as he had a little spot he could go to. You know what I mean? Where he's sort of, again, observing everything.
No.
How does it go in the book?
I mean, it just bounces all
back and
around.
forth?
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably where the movie falls apart.
See, I was wondering how they tried to do this, because there's no way. It's not an incredibly nonlinear timeline. So I didn't understand how you would make a movie out of it. It turns out unsuccessfully. That's what it sounds like.
I may be remembering it wrong, but I do remember him, like, you're following his life in normal time, and then it's cut between him being out of time, right? Is that sort of how the book is structured?
Well, let me explain the concept of the book. Billy Pilgrim, and this is another thing that ties into things I don't really like. This is where everyone thinks it's sci-fi.
Okay.
Is abducted by aliens.
Okay.
However, what they show him is that time isn't a linear thing.
Okay.
So you can just bounce around throughout time. So the book is written like that.
Okay.
So it's like Billy Pilgrim is at war. Billy Pilgrim is at home married.
Right.
Billy Pilgrim's an old man. Billy Pilgrim's back at war. It's just all around.
Right. Okay.
That's why I don't think you could make a good movie out of it.
Because it would be super hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Right. Well, and so, which is true, by the way, from what I understand, that time really isn't linear. We conceive of it as linear, but it really isn't linear. This is what I've heard some very intelligent people say, not me. This is not me saying this. You know what I'm saying? This is me cribbing from a lot of smart people.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Why
fine.
not?
Okay. I mean, again, to your point, it doesn't really matter because we're not going to suddenly, have a moment where we can see it all that way.
If it isn't linear, but we perceive it as linear, who cares? I've had this argument with people too about the whole creationist versus Big Bang debate.
Right.
Really, when it gets down to it, does it matter?
I think it matters because those
how
because.
Are we going to create another universe?
No.
Using the knowledge we have?
No. Well, who knows? Given enough time, we might do anything. But no, I think it matters because if you didn't have a creationist story, I mean, just think about how that means cultures have formed around those ideas. You know what I mean? It reverberates out through everything.
But
it
doesn't matter because
what does matter?
For that?
For anything. What matters?
I mean, the current situation matters.
Okay.
And future repercussions.
And you don't think that, the stories we tell and the way that we perceive of the world has any impact on the present situation or the future?
Not that.
Really? Really?
If I was convinced that the world was created by a giant bumblebee.
Okay.
How would that change anything I did in life? Really?
I don't know. Like you would probably revere bumblebees a lot more than you do right now.
Does that really affect anybody?
Maybe it does.
Does it? Does it though?
I mean,
here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether you believe the earth is created by God or whether there's a Big Bang. You know what? Even if every Christian died and the creation story went away, there'd be another creation story.
Well, yeah.
That happens constantly.
We do that.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
They're not equal arguments. One is a science-based argument, and one is a faith-based argument.
Oh, I'm not interested in having that debate at all. Like that debate, I've tied that debate up in a little knot and put it in a drawer.
I'm just saying, proving either one of them isn't going to convince the other one that they're wrong, so it doesn't matter.
Right, okay.
It's irrelevant.
I don't think it doesn't matter at all in the larger sense.
Oh, it doesn't.
But having, I get what you're saying in the sense of like, having that debate between people on the extremes.
I'm just
There's
saying,
no point in that.
Let's look at E = MC².
Okay.
How has that changed your life?
I mean,
directly.
Well, I mean, it does.
Not in the larger sense, directly.
Do you mean like what? The food I eat, the money I have in my pocket, what I
anything
do day
directly,
in and day out?
daily in your life.
I have moments where I think about things like that, and it gives me a larger perspective.
That's
You know what
not
I mean?
that's not changing things
Sure,
that
it is.
much.
Like if there was nothing, I mean, what? I don't really see your point because, I mean, you're kind of saying that like all scientific advancement. I don't know if you're extrapolating this to art or anything. You're kind of saying like, okay. You're kind of saying that any scientific advancement doesn't have any impact on my life, but that's not true.
No, I'm saying that trying to prove things like string theory and things like that is not going to really have a direct impact on anything.
Unless you it can break your mind open thinking about it. You know what I mean? It can give you a sense of possibility, a sense of mystery that you didn't have before.
Well, no, it won't. It'll take away a sense of mystery.
No, not necessarily, because then you can.
The more answers you have, the less mystery there is.
Well, but no, this is the way science works. You know this. Every time you figure out the answer to a question, it just raises a bunch more questions. That's why we keep exploring. That's why we keep doing things.
But it doesn't. It just doesn't affect your daily life.
It does if I bring it into my daily life. If I think about it.
But
it does.
You can say that about everything.
Well, sure you can. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, if you can
I'm saying the general survival of you is not affected by this.
Survival.
Yeah.
In the strictest like evolutionary way, survival? Like me passing out my genes, survival?
No, in like the you being alive.
Well, no, but not much does. And that's not the good stuff in life, man. The good stuff in life is
the important things in life, though.
I don't know. The bigger, I mean, there's a lot of big stuff, you know.
So you are saying here, you would rather get rid of the survival things if you can have the thought that string theory might possibly be a thing.
I don't think it's an either or. I just don't think it's an either or question.
Well, but it's not an either or. It's a one of them is more important than the other.
Sure, it just depends on how you define importance. You know, if we are talking about survival, then yes.
Yeah.
But you know, assuming that I continue to survive,
right?
These are the things. Thinking about things like this, these are the things that make life worth living. You know what I mean?
Thinking about string theory?
Yeah, thinking about the idea that there might be fucking 11 dimensions that I can't even conceive of.
See, I never once in a day think about that.
Well,
I never contemplate dimensions. I don't listen to people discuss dimensions on podcasts or TV. I just don't care.
Okay.
I'm in this dimension. I'm here. I'm not there.
That's the difference between you and I
it
guess.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess we're just different in that way, man. Because I do think about stuff like that.
But you're here. Be in your present situation. Don't be in some other situation.
Well, and you can do that. I wouldn't argue that point. I mean, I think it's very important to be in the present moment, you know, and try to do that a lot of the times. But, you know, you can be in the present moment and you can also go have these you can have these flights of fancy. You know what I mean? This is what we do as a species. We make things, we think about things, we come up with stuff, you know, we make stuff that wasn't there before, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what we do. It's in our nature.
But, I mean, some of it's kind of unnecessary. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, okay. All right. I do agree with your point about stories and creation stories. Yeah. We've always done that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Keep going farther and farther back, and there's always I mean, I'll say that as an example. Scientology sounds completely insane right now. Give it 200 years, I bet you it'll be, if it's still around, I bet you it'll be a lot more widely accepted than it is right now. You know what I mean? Not. So do I, but this is just the case. Not. You know what I'm saying? Like the youngest religions are the weirdest sounding religions. You know, the older things get, the more it's kind of like, okay, well, that's survived.
Can you imagine having to listen to a person just regularly tell you a sci-fi story as if it was a fact.
To you, that I think for you that sounds like hell.
It's the single worst thing I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it depends on how you define it, because a lot of people are walking around talking about a lot of things that you might as well call a sci-fi story. You know what I mean?
right.
You know?
Well, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't like one that is actually literally a sci-fi story. It is from a book that would be placed in the fiction section.
Absolutely. You know what the greatest thing is about L. Ron Hubbard? It's so funny. You go to McKay's, right? Mm-hmm. For those of you that don't know, McKay's is a big used books and CDs and records place and DVDs, whatever. So you walk around and you're looking at novels, and everything's like, $7, $8 generally. Maybe 10, 12. It's a hardcover or something. You get to sci-fi and you pick up an L. Ron Hubbard book, and they're literally like 2 cents.
That's I'm sure that's most sci-fi books.
No.
Really?
No.
Because sci-fi is like the pulp.
Yeah, but his are on the low rung of the ladder for sure, at least in McKay's.
So, I mean, if we were making a ladder of literature,
yeah,
sci-fi is towards the bottom of the ladder of literature.
We can't have this conversation.
No, as far as being respected,
by everyone,
it's way down at the bottom.
Sure, people would look at it. Well, any genre.
I mean, it's
right?
even below like Dr. Seuss on the ladder. More people will say Dr. Seuss is great than will rave about a sci-fi book.
I don't know. This is a hard conversation for me to have.
I know you don't like it, but it's a fact. More people like Dr. Seuss than sci-fi.
Oh, more people like it.
That's what I'm saying. They'll rave about Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
I'm not saying Dr. Seuss is better than sci-fi.
Okay.
Dr. Seuss is better than a lot of things, let's be honest. But it's on the bottom rung.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the bottom few rungs.
And fantasy is below
It's second
that.
bottom. It's second to bottom.
And then fantasy's at the bottom?
Okay. No, I'm going to put fantasy just above it.
Because of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It ruined everything.
Right.
Romance novels are at the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's romance novels, bottom rung.
Okay.
Sci-fi is second to the bottom. Fantasy third.
Then mystery.
You also got the Hobbit for fantasy. So that helps.
That's
it
a
out.
big one. Yeah, that's a big one.
Okay, so second to the bottom rung. Mm-hmm. And then L. Ron Hubbard, you're saying, is the bottom rung of the second to the bottom rung.
He's the runglet. Right. I mean, he might have his own special rung that's below the romance novel, because it's the cheapest thing in the store.
Oh, man.
You can literally buy an out-of-date calendar that costs more than an L. Ron Hubbard novel at McKay's.
The fact that sci-fi books aren't cheap there really surprises me, because everywhere you go, when they have like the bargain bins out front, it's like 90% romance novels, and then 10% sci-fi and fantasy, and then like one Bill O'Reilly book. Just one Bill O'Reilly book on top, killing Hitler or Abe Lincoln or whoever is killing this book.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true though. It's true. I mean, yeah, they do have a lot of the fantasy books you think about where literally the cover is like a bare-chested guy with a sword, and then like a dragon, and then like a princess, and then like a warlock. Those are like $4 or $5,
right?
And his books are literally pennies. You could buy the whole L. Ron Hubbard collection at McKay's for $1. Paperback.
But no one hates themselves that much. So.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the guy famously did not do a second draft.
Yeah.
He just wrote, and
well, if what I have heard is correct, even at the time, like his peers were like, "No,
yes, that's true. That's true.
This is just bad.
It's just garbage. It's just not good. Like, what are you doing? You're not even trying."
I mean, we know we're not respected, but like, he's really bad.
Yeah. Well, that's it. He's just not even putting in the effort. You know, like he's just pumping out stuff. But it must have been a crazy time. It's got to be. It's. I have to think that it's so much harder to get published now than it was then. You know what I mean? Because there were all these magazines and stuff that were just looking for stories all
I
the
doubt
time.
it is.
You don't think so?
Yeah, because internet.
True. That's true. That's true.
You get a lot more
There's
options.
the web. Yeah. I mean, you can self-publish and all that too.
Getting published by something reputable.
Yes.
Maybe
More challenging.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's also probably a lot more people writing and submitting now, I would think.
Yeah.
You know, there's just a higher proportion of...
Well, that's because that generation was focused on doing productive things.
Right. Yeah. Ours, not so much. Not so much.
Yeah.
Thus, podcasts.
This is as far from like productive 50s activities as you can get.
Pretty well. Yeah.
In the 50s, none of this, I mean, if this technology was available,
Right.
of course,
Sure.
none of this would be happening because we'd be out, fixing our car or, reading a newspaper while we smoke a pipe and complain about the coloreds. That's what you did in the 50s.
Yeah, not now.
Right.
Right.
I don't think it's
No.
right, but if I was in the 50s, I mean, who knows?
You might
Who
feel
knows?
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to go out on the limb and say that you would be
Right.
an
I would
enlightened person.
I would like to believe that if I lived in the 50s, I would be an enlightened person.
Yeah.
But I think we all would like to believe that.
Sure.
And let's be honest, 9 out of 10 people, if they actually lived in the 50s, were going to be racist.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And the one person who's not racist is just like barely not racist. Like, they're just like, no, they can totally use my water fountain and bathroom. I don't even care. But they don't like hang out.
Right.
They're just like, yeah, no, let them do whatever.
Okay, you've used the bathroom. You've drank from the fountain. Get
Your
out of
time
here.
your time is done now.
Goodbye. Obviously, you can't be here when my friends come over.
You seem like a swell guy. In like 20 years, maybe we'll catch up.
And in the interim, I'm going to grow a mustache.
I always wonder if, because you see people do it now, the people who go out of their way to not be racist. I wonder if in the 50s there were just white guys walking around, just like walking up to black people going, hey, so that jazz, like, that's pretty cool, right? I'm really down. I really enjoy that jazz music.
There definitely were people like that. I mean, you see them like in the films of jazz concerts. There's always like one or two, very out of place white dudes.
I just the other day I bought a Charlie Parker album, so I like the jazz.
Yeah. I'll have some more, please.
I've spoken to several people like you today.
Hi, could I have a little taste of that jazz cigarette?
I imagine that even in the 50s, the black people hated those people.
Oh, you have to think they did. Yeah.
Like, it's great that they're being nice to us, but
Step off.
leave me alone.
No, you had to think they did. I mean, there was probably a derogatory term for it too, I'm sure,
They would probably start citing when they were talking about jazz, telling them all about the clarinet jazz that they love.
Yes. That Benny Goodman gets me every time.
He's got soul in there, doesn't he?
He does. There's soul in that horn. One of the whitest white people who operated in the world of jazz is this guy, Rudy Van Gelder. He's an engineer. He, probably from the mid to late 50s through the 70s, was like the most sought after engineer for jazz. He started out in his parents' house. They converted a room into a studio, and he ended up recording, everybody, Miles Davis, John Coltrane,
right?
Everybody. And so he starts in his folks' house, and later on he gets his own studio, and it just continues. But if you see the guy, he was an optometrist before he was doing jazz records.
And that's what you want out of your musical experts.
And he's the nerdiest, like mealiest looking dude, just such a little putz, but recorded all this great jazz. I mean, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messenger. He did stuff for Blue Note, Verve, all the labels, Prestige, all those people. So yeah, he was one of those characters. Then you have like your Stan Getzes and people like that, your Dave Brubecks,
right?
All those guys.
Your dog is sniffing.
She's sniffing you?
Sniffing my crotch.
She's investigating your junk.
Getting right in there. Fine, how do you do right there?
Yeah, indeed. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah.
That song got stuck in my head today.
Why?
I don't know. I haven't even heard it recently. I mean,
I'm sure you have.
No, I actively try to avoid hearing that song.
I'm sure, though, in passing, because they're back.
Oh, that's true. They are back.
I'm sure you've heard it somewhere.
Maybe it has come on and I just didn't notice.
What radio stations do you listen to?
Mostly, I listen to NPR.
That's no good.
Yeah. They're not going to play that song. Probably. And then I do listen to Jack sometimes.
That I'm sure in a commercial on there, because they just played a concert in town recently.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You heard an ad.
Hey, how was Louis C.K.?
Good.
You saw Louis C.K. on Thursday, right?
Yeah, he was funny.
At Bridgestone,
yeah,
which is like the biggest venue in town, besides the football field.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do, like 3 nights, 2 nights?
1.
Oh, just 1 night? Somebody was saying he did multi-nights.
No, okay. He didn't even sell it out.
Really?
For 1 night.
Really?
Well, it's like 12,000 seats.
Yeah, but it's Louis C.K. though, like, come on. I guess that matters to me more than most people.
It's 12,000 seats.
Yeah, okay. So he was funny.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it was all new material.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Any takeaways?
Nah, not really.
Is there an opener at a big comedy show like
there were
that?
3 openers.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Who were they?
3 anonymous comedians.
You didn't know any of them?
Michelle Wolf, I knew.
I don't know Michelle Wolf.
I recommend Michelle Wolf.
Okay.
The other 2, never heard of.
Never heard of?
Never going to remember who they are. I'll probably never hear of them again.
Who went on right before Louis?
A guy.
The guy.
A guy.
One
of the 2 guys.
When did Michelle Wolf go on?
Before the guy.
Okay. So there was a guy.
So there was a guy, then there was her, then there was another guy, then there was Louis C.K. And the 2 guys, they made jokes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I remember about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you don't have anything more to say about it? Just that? Yeah. Did you laugh?
Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
Great.
It's Louis C.K. Why would I not laugh?
Well, you just don't have much to say about it.
Well, what? I guess I could go through his set.
Yeah, go do that. Go through his set.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I know. I think one of the most interesting performances I ever saw when I was in high school was Tenacious D. And so they played like half the time, and half the time they did jokes.
Well, see, it was a weird comedy night.
Okay.
In Nashville. Because you had Louis C.K., and then just down the street, you had Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, really?
At the Ascend Amphitheater.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So there were a lot of people debating what to do.
Yeah.
Which is probably why Louis C.K. didn't sell out.
Because of Flight of the Conchords. Yeah, probably.
That's a crossover audience right there.
Definitely. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird seeing comedy in an arena.
I bet it was. I bet that was kind of strange.
Yeah.
How good were your seats?
They were there.
Middle?
They didn't sell out, so I got moved down to the bottom.
Oh, that's nice.
They didn't want a smattering of people up at the top.
Right.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Great. Awesome.
Yeah, man. I recommend it.
I had to hang around work for a video shoot that night. A video shoot that ended up involving tears. It's some documentary that these guys from Utah are doing about a music teacher who I guess is dying, but this music teacher apparently had a big impact on a lot of people.
Sounds cheery.
Right. A lot of people who ended up being professionals, later in life. So he's kind of a...
Oh, so he's like Mr. Holland.
Yeah, he's kind of Mr. Holland.
Did he write an opus?
I don't know that he did. I have no idea. I know zero about this guy.
You didn't ask?
No, he wasn't there. If he had asked, I would have asked him.
You didn't ask the people who were there?
No, I
You
didn't.
didn't say, hey, since you're in my studio, just out of curiosity, what are you doing?
What are you doing here? Yeah. No, I knew the bare minimum about the project. Bare minimum, but there were tears. There was a lot of crying. It was very sad. And like they
You
went,
assume.
Well, no, it was sad.
You assume.
I saw them
I
crying.
mean, you don't know the background of the tears.
I did. I was listening, so I heard some stories.
What were the stories?
They were all very general, actually. There was
That
a lot-
sounds sad.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah. No, but it was one of those situations where they went way over time, because they're supposed to end at a certain time.
And you turned the hoses on them?
I would have had they not all been crying. I would have been like, you gotta get out of here, you guys.
That doesn't sound like a documentary I want to watch. If even the people making the documentary are crying,
yeah,
that's not an unbiased documentary.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't seem like it's supposed to even be an attempt at...
I want an unbiased story when I watch a documentary.
I understand. I like that.
I get real mad when I start watching one. We just watched Blackfish.
Still haven't seen that.
Okay. I will say, I'm going to start off by saying, yes, SeaWorld's gross.
Yeah.
They're a terrible organization.
Yes.
However, that was not an unbiased documentary.
Okay.
Now, I'm not supporting SeaWorld.
Right.
Bad organization.
Right.
But it was like they proved they were a bad organization, and then for the next hour, just piled on.
So they made their point.
Okay.
Yeah. They made their point pretty quick.
You're not exactly showing two sides of the argument fully. Like, they would have, like, an interview with a SeaWorld guy. And 20 minutes of interviews with people who hate SeaWorld.
Yeah.
And then one comment from the SeaWorld guy. And then clips from the news about SeaWorld killing people.
Oh, my God.
It's not...
Killing people? Really?
Yeah. Their whales have killed people.
Oh, I knew that. Okay.
Yeah.
I did.
They didn't actually... Like, it wasn't, like, with a gun.
Right.
It was with a whale. Death by whale.
Death by whale. And the whale ate them. Right?
Maimed them, mostly.
Maimed them. Okay.
Whales, best I can figure out from this documentary, are like Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Yes.
They are big and don't know their own strength. Mm-hmm. And so every single death, it was like maybe the whale was trying to play, but things got out of hand.
And is this just orcas, or is this other whales?
They were
Mostly
talking about the orcas in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so SeaWorld's bad. Mm-hmm. But I think a biased or an unbiased documentary would show that.
Yeah. You wouldn't have to try to paint them in a bad light.
It would do the job.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let people come to their own conclusions, and no one's going to watch that and go, well, the SeaWorld guy makes a good case.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this documentary, but I just know that I have no interest in going to SeaWorld.
The thing that annoyed me the most in it was, I don't know if it was for all of the cases, but it was for one case.
Okay.
Where someone was killed. And the way they presented SeaWorld's comments about the death was from a person who was trying to tell you how bad SeaWorld was.
Okay.
So it would be like if I were supposed to be presenting the unbiased view of the new Taylor Swift album, it's not going to be unbiased. I can't.
There's no way to remove it.
I
wouldn't
sit here and go, I don't like Taylor Swift. Her new album is blah, 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 blah. It's going to be very, very bitter.
Absolutely. 100%.
So, I get very annoyed by documentaries like that. It's why I can't watch Michael Moore.
I was going to bring him up.
Even if I am agreeing with him, which is more often than not while I'm watching those documentaries, He takes the points and just annoys me with them.
Yeah, he really beats it over your
And
head.
Calling it a documentary is very, very loose.
It's loose. There needs to be another term.
I know.
You know?
Yeah, it's
like,
because it's not. I mean, it's a nonfiction movie, but not all nonfiction movies should count as documentaries.
Right? It's like nonfiction.
He's. I mean, he's documenting him shoving microphones in people's faces, I guess, is the documentary aspect of it. I don't know.
Right. Like it's almost meta, right? Because it's like, the documentary is him making a documentary.
The documentary is him making a documentary about how bad this is.
Right. Exactly.
Which in itself is still not a documentary.
Right.
Anyway.
And also just having like a figure, an individual like that who is so tied to whatever he's doing, there's no way that that's going to be unbiased.
No, I it's why I wouldn't ever be able to make documentaries, because I'd have to find something I'm not on one side or the other of, and there's not a lot of choices there. I mean, there's not a lot of a lot of political options for sure.
Right.
Where I wouldn't just be annoyed with, oh, maybe I'd just make documentaries where I complain about both sides. I do have that a lot.
Yeah, you could do that. Just kind of the state of things.
Yeah. They're all terrible.
Yeah.
They're all terrible too.
Everybody's terrible.
In conclusion,
nothing matters. We're all fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could. There's a lot you could do there.
You know
could
what?
Do it by issue.
I'm going to bring it back around here to something we were talking about.
Okay.
You know, it would be a good documentary following one of these idiots playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I want to see the daily life of a Pokemon goer.
Yeah.
Because I can't even imagine.
I only want to do that unless we do it like pop-up video. Like, this kid is doing Pokemon Go and then like a really attractive girl walks by and the pop-up says, didn't even notice. Or...
I have a coworker who's playing it.
Okay.
Not Everett.
I was going to ask.
Everett thinks it's stupid.
Well, points for Everett.
That means this is a really bad game. This is the person who went on about the Snapchat filter that puts your face on a dog face or whatever it is for like 20 minutes.
Okay.
It puts a dog nose on you. It's a Snapchat filter. Do you know what Snapchat is?
I do know what Snapchat is.
Snapchat is a phone application that you can download.
No, I'm aware.
Okay, well, they have filters.
Okay.
And one makes you look like a dog.
That's really dumb.
I would agree.
Okay.
Everett would not. But Everett does not like Pokemon Go.
Okay.
And this one coworker found out that there's a something Pokemon-y near our building. I don't know what.
Gymnasium or something? Where they fight?
No, it's not. It's where he goes to get Pokeballs. The reason I know this is he said over and over, I was trying to get Pokeballs.
The way you say it...
Yeah, Pokeballs.
It just sounds like someone...
Pokeballs.
Poking balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He showed up to work a half hour early the other day.
Okay.
So he could drive through this parking lot and try to get Pokeballs. I don't know if he succeeded because I zoned out at that point of his story. But for half an hour, he was driving around in circles in this parking lot because you can only go by every 5 minutes.
Right.
Coming back by every 5 minutes and doing whatever it is you do on your phone to make it do things.
Yeah, I don't know how you catch the things.
Well, he wasn't catching things.
Well, I know, but how do you like collect things?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how any of it works.
I don't know how it works.
And then he was trying to, during lunch, catch Pokemon in the office. He caught something somewhere.
Really? Yeah,
I guess.
I feel okay. I guess I heard, and I haven't read about this at all. I guess I heard that the goal with this is to try to get people outside and active.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
whatever.
and it is working, to be fair.
Sure, that it's doing that, but like, it's also making a bunch of people walk around looking just super dumb.
Well, people are getting hit by cars.
I know. Well, did you hear about the kid that I think a kid walked off a cliff? A kid got hit by cars. Another kid was in the woods looking for Pokemon, found a dead body.
Well, that's actually a good.
It's a good thing.
Find.
But yeah, like out.
Kudos.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah, Charizard. Dead bodies are.
Did he find the Pokemon?
It's unknown. It's unknown. Do you feel like in that situation, you're this kid, you find the body, but you're like, nah, I'm going to call this in, but first, let me get Squirtle over here.
Yeah.
You would still complete your task, right?
Yeah.
Your Poke task.
How many Pokemon are there?
A fuck ton. I don't know. There's hundreds.
I never watched it as a kid. It was on in my house like twice, as far as I remember.
It used to come on, and I was too old for it by the time it came on, so I didn't get into it. Like I was a Ninja Turtles kid, you know.
Well, so was I.
That was my era. But so by the time it came on, I was like older,
yeah,
and I didn't give a shit anymore. And so it used to come on before I went to school, and so sometimes I caught some of it.
Yeah.
The cartoon, you know, but I never had any of the stuff.
Is it still a TV show?
I don't know. I think they make movies every now and then. I think it's weird. It's an active franchise for sure.
Yeah, well, I know that.
Yeah.
I remember in junior high, everyone playing the card game.
Yes, right.
Which is confusing.
Yeah.
And seems unpleasant.
As all these kind of games do sometimes, to me at least. I don't know.
It always just turns into people arguing about, their health points.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's true.
I don't know whether you have an argument there, or I don't know what is happening with health points.
A few years ago, when I was in college, I did, because I needed a brain break. I learned about emulators and ROMs, and I went and downloaded some games from the interwebs, and I did download a Pokemon game and played it and beat it, and that was pretty fun.
Okay,
it was pretty
so
fun.
The video games are good,
I guess. I mean, it was walking around collecting, and then you like get together and fight.
I feel like I missed out on something here.
Okay,
because everyone, when they start talking about Pokemon Go, and I go, ugh, and everyone goes, well, didn't you play the video games? I didn't.
You did not.
I don't know what they look like. I don't know how you play them. I know nothing about the video games. I didn't play the card game. You
didn't watch the
had
show.
A vague passing knowledge of the show existing.
Yeah. I feel like, let me run this by you. I'm going to pitch this to you.
Okay.
What if we applied this concept to other video games? Like, what if there was a Zelda Go?
It's just a matter of time.
It's just a matter of time.
And there are other video games that have done this.
Really? Okay, this is not a new concept? Okay.
This is just the popular concept.
I could have fun with a Zelda Go because, like, if I could walk around and, like, get, like, the chain shot or whatever, I played some of those games.
You know what? I've never played a Zelda game either.
Really? Oh, they're fun. They're fun. I like Zelda games.
I did sports games.
Yeah.
And you can't really do this with... I got a Mark McGuire. No!
And you literally get a Mark McGuire.
Combine it with my steroid syringe.
I'm going to put him in my Bappa Ball.
It's you can't do any of that with the games I played.
You walk around collecting baseball players that you put inside baseballs. Yeah. And then you pop them out and they fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be a great
game. That would be pretty fun. Oh, a hockey Go?
Would Barry Bonds or Mark McGuire win in a fight?
Mark McGuire, probably. I don't know. Barry Bonds is angrier, I think.
Are you saying that because you're racist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously. Obviously.
Yeah, I saw a thing listing all these other games like this that have existed for a while.
Yeah.
And no one cared. Apparently, it just took a bunch of anime creatures for anyone to care about this game.
Apparently. Now, let me ask you this. Is Pokemon a science fiction concept? A fantasy concept? What is it?
It's I would say it's fantasy.
A fantasy concept.
It's anime. Everything anime seems to be fantasy.
Or some like weird concoction of
Yeah.
sci-fi and fantasy, you know?
I mean, they live in a land full of monsters.
Yes.
Pocket monsters.
Indeed. They are pocket monsters. Trouser snake, go.
They when you think about Pokemon is the least creative name they could have come up with their pocket monster. Pokemon?
Pocky. Oh yeah.
So let's just shorten it.
I wonder if the Japanese word for pocket is like poke.
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
Have you ever watched much anime?
no.
Yeah. I've watched some, not a lot.
I immediately didn't like it as a kid when I watched Speed Racer.
There's a lot better things than Speed Racer.
I know. I just
FYI.
don't like watching cartoon characters do the whole. I have to do this. I have to do this now. Let's do this now. Now. Do it. It's everyone is clearly on something.
Yeah.
In anime cartoons,
It's cocaine. They're all on cocaine.
just calm down.
Japanese cocaine, which is a higher grade of
The
cocaine.
Pokemon are still going to be there if you walk there. You don't have to run everywhere. And if you talk that fast, it's going to scare them away.
Well, you notice how big everyone's eyes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I never got into anime. And that's probably the fantasy aspect of it because I really I have a short leash on fantasy stuff.
clearly,
It has to be in the realm of possibility fantasy.
which is none.
Well, like you could imagine that it might be a thing that would happen.
Okay.
There's way too many questions with anime, like why does that person have tentacles? Things like that
Right.
that pop up a lot.
This is true. Yeah. Why does that person explode and regenerate every 2 or 3 minutes? There are lots of weird things.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of talking like fruits and
Yeah.
things in anime. There's a lot of weird shit.
Japan's weird, man.
Japan is weird, man. It's a whole other thing.
I imagine that in Japan, the shows that I think are weird, they sit down and watch it and go, "Oh, this is just boring."
Yeah. It's so average. It's basic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the pumpkin spice latte of cartoons.
It's so basic. So basic.
I kind of always wonder if the stuff that comes over from Japan, like anime, is just a joke on us.
Yeah, it might be.
Like if
be.
they're just sitting there going, "Stupid Americans."
Yep.
Look, they think we watch this. We've got better things to do than that.
We
Who
figure
do they think makes their blenders? It's us.
We find out through a series of investigations that Hirohito is still alive and he's running all this and he's getting like a sick pleasure out of.
My sister has started playing Pokemon Go.
Really?
She came over to watch our child when we went to see Louis C.K.
Uh-huh.
And so I got home to see her sitting there holding our child playing Pokemon Go.
Oh no.
And I'm not
Oh,
sure
no.
which one was getting more attention,
Yeah.
but I've got to guess.
Yeah.
Don't let your babysitters play Pokemon Go.
Don't do it. Sushi jackknife.
Sushi jackknife.